Honestly, this is the moment many middle-class families quietly hit the wall. You're earning more than before, working harder, doing everything right. Yet the savings don't grow and the pressure never lets up. Here's what surprised me when researching this. The problem isn't effort, it's location. In 2026, Americans aren't leaving because they want more luxury. They're leaving because the math no longer works where they live. Housing, taxes, and daily costs are draining wealth faster than it can be built. So families are voting with their moving trucks, searching for places where middle-class incomes can still create middle-class lives. And once you see where they're going, the shift becomes impossible to ignore. The great middle-class flip. Why Americans are rethinking opportunity. Here's the weird part you'll notice when you zoom out on the data. This isn't a random migration. It's a deliberate financial recalculation. Middle-class families aren't chasing bigger salaries anymore, they're chasing balance. What I kept seeing in the research was the same idea repeating itself across states and income brackets, something experts call the sweet spot. It's where solid jobs still exist, but the cost of living doesn't quietly erase every raise. You're probably thinking the same thing they are. Why make more money if none of it stays yours? This flip is happening because families want margin again. Room to save, invest, and plan, instead of just surviving month to month. Once that mindset shifts, the destinations become very clear, starting with the state that surprised even longtime migration analysts. Number 1. Why Tennessee is winning. The state that gives families their money back. Here's what genuinely surprised me when digging into the numbers. Tennessee isn't winning because it's flashy, it's winning because it quietly fixes the middle-class math. Zero state income tax changes everything for families earning around $120,000 a year, because thousands of dollars stay in their pockets instead of disappearing every April, year after year, compounding into real wealth. You'll notice cities like Nashville and Knoxville exploding in growth, not because they're cheap, but because they offer something far more valuable: opportunity without suffocation. This is part of a larger secondary city renaissance, where mid-sized metros and university towns create solid careers without mega-city costs. Locals say the biggest difference isn't lifestyle, it's breathing room. Paychecks stretch further, savings finally grow, and financial stress eases without sacrificing ambition. Once you see why Tennessee works, the next state on this list reveals an even stranger value equation. Number 2. The hidden value of South Carolina. The best deal most people overlook. Here's the weird part most people miss when they look at South Carolina. It offers one of the lowest cost-to-amenity ratios in the country. And that matters more than raw income. Families are moving into places like Greenville and Charleston because they deliver real quality of life without forcing financial trade-offs. Greenville has quietly evolved into a tech and manufacturing hub while keeping costs low enough that families can still save every month. Charleston surprises people even more, offering coastal living with a diversified economy that goes far beyond tourism. You'll notice why this state keeps pulling families away from more expensive coastal regions. It delivers beaches, mountains, and vibrant downtowns without the financial stress tied to similar lifestyles elsewhere. Once you see how South Carolina balances lifestyle and stability, the next destination explains why some families still take a bigger gamble. Number 3. Texas. Still a magnet, but changing. Opportunity is big, but the math is tighter. Texas still pulls middle-class families in massive numbers, but here's what the data makes clear. The story has evolved. The state's enormous job market in technology and energy continues to create opportunities few places can match, which is why families keep coming even as costs rise. You'll probably be thinking about cities like Austin, where property taxes and insurance have climbed fast enough to erase some of the old savings advantage. That skepticism is fair. What keeps Texas competitive is its economic diversity. When one sector slows, others usually hold steady, providing the career stability middle-class families can't afford to lose. Locals say the appeal now isn't cheap living, it's long-term security. And that trade-off becomes even clearer when you look at a state quietly compounding careers in a different way. Number 4. The quiet power of North Carolina, where careers compound over time. North Carolina doesn't shout for attention, but the numbers tell a powerful story. Middle-class professionals are flowing into the Research Triangle, and Charlotte, because these regions offer high-paying jobs in technology and financial services without the crushing housing costs found in similar metros elsewhere. You'll notice this state appeals to families thinking long-term. Mild winters, access to both mountains and beaches, and strong public schools turn career growth into actual life progress. Charlotte's banking sector and the Research Triangle's pharmaceutical and tech companies create paths where income stability builds year after year, not just short-term wins. Locals say this is a place where patience pays off, and that mindset becomes even more important when remote work reshapes how families choose their next move. Number 5. Idaho's remote work effect. When your salary moves, but your costs don't. Here's what really changed Idaho's trajectory. Remote work unlocked a financial loophole for the middle class. Families leaving high-cost West Coast cities are landing in Boise while keeping salaries that were never designed for Idaho's cost structure. You'll notice the upgrade is dramatic. People who struggled to afford a small condo in Seattle can buy a full-sized home with a yard while earning the same income. Honestly, that math is hard to ignore. The appeal goes beyond money, though. Locals say community life and outdoor access matter just as much. The tension now is growth itself, as Idaho works to absorb new families without losing what made it affordable. And that balance becomes even trickier in a state where taxes aren't the main draw. Number 6. Florida's double-edged sword. The tax win that comes with a catch. Florida keeps pulling middle-class families for one simple reason that shows up instantly on a paycheck. Zero state income tax. That benefit is immediate and powerful, especially for families focused on maximizing take-home pay. Here's the part locals quietly warn newcomers about. Homeowners insurance has exploded in many areas, with some families watching premiums triple and quietly erase the tax advantage that drew them in. You'll notice this creates a split decision. Families who can absorb those rising insurance costs still come out ahead, while others feel squeezed all over again. Despite the headwinds, Florida remains a top destination because the savings hit fast and feel real, which makes the next state's appeal about something very different than taxes alone. Number 7. Utah's stability advantage. Why predictability beats flash. Utah keeps rising on middle-class migration lists for a reason that doesn't make headlines but matters deeply to families. As 2026 begins, it ranks at the top for overall economic strength and employment stability, which changes how middle-class income translates into real progress. You'll notice the difference in places like Salt Lake City and its suburbs, where technology, finance, and healthcare jobs grow alongside family-friendly communities. Honestly, the appeal isn't just opportunity, it's reliability. Families can plan for retirement, save for education, and move forward without fearing sudden economic whiplash. Locals say stability is the hidden luxury here, and that mindset sets the stage for a state drawing families for a very different reason next. Number 8. Arizona's California escape valve, keeping the career, dropping the cost. Arizona has become the pressure release valve for families leaving Southern California, and the reason is simple math. Phoenix and Tucson offer technology-driven job growth with housing costs that still feel reasonable compared to coastal alternatives. You'll notice Phoenix no longer depends on tourism or real estate alone. Semiconductor manufacturing and tech firms have built serious operations here, creating careers that rival those in far more expensive metros. The trade-off is obvious, and families talk about it openly. The desert heat is real, but so are the savings. For many, maintaining a California-level career without California-level costs makes that decision feel rational, especially when the next state offers something even paycheck-focused. Number 9. Georgia's spendable income secret. When your paycheck finally stretches. Georgia's pull on the middle class comes down to something most people don't calculate correctly: how much money actually stays usable after bills are paid. Analysts call it spendable income margin, and this is where Georgia quietly wins. Atlanta's steady stream of corporate relocations has built a strong job market for middle-class professionals, while the suburbs north and east of the city offer solid schools and safe neighborhoods at prices that feel almost unreal to families arriving from the Northeast or California. Savannah adds another layer to the appeal, delivering coastal living and historic charm without the crushing costs seen in similar cities nearby. You'll notice why families say their paychecks finally breathe here, which makes the final state on this list especially interesting. Number 10. Nevada's silent climb. Low taxes without lifestyle shock. Nevada's rise in middle-class migration has been quiet but deliberate. Families are drawn by the same immediate tax advantage found in a few other states, with no state income tax leaving more money in household bank accounts from day one. What surprised me when looking deeper is how Las Vegas has diversified beyond tourism, attracting technology companies and corporate relocations that provide stable middle-class jobs. You'll notice this state works for families who want urban amenities and career options without the dramatic lifestyle shifts required in more rural, low-tax states. And that balance sets up the final realization that explains why this exodus is accelerating. The line. Everyone is crossing. When staying becomes the risk. Here's the realization quietly driving this entire shift. The middle class isn't chasing glamour anymore, it's chasing viability. Families are no longer asking where life looks exciting, they're asking where life actually works. You'll notice this line getting crossed when people stop tolerating financial stress as the price of ambition. High-cost metros once symbolized opportunity, but now they drain progress faster than it can be built. The states winning in 2026 offer something radically simple: the ability to build wealth on a middle-class income without constant anxiety. Honestly, once that clicks, the decision stops feeling dramatic and starts feeling inevitable.